I was not. Okay. All right. So, Pastor Kelly wanted me to kind of do some myths versus facts. And so I thought, let's start with some things that people think are true or kind of just not true. Going to walking around with some non-truths, if you will. So the first one says, therapy isn't for someone who looks like me. Oh, okay. Well, while that may feel true and that could be true, I put a few bullet points down here at the bottom because these are things that I think matter if you are going to seek help. So for some people, race is a thing. As you're looking and you're trying to figure out who would be good for me, some people need to kind of filter their search to African American. I do agree that we have shared community experiences. There's things that you want to talk about that could have happened to you in public or just culturally. There's just certain sayings that it's like, this matters. And I agree, because I see a Black therapist. And so while you may think it's not for you, there's plenty of us who look like you, who are in the field and who can relate. And so I want to bust this myth by saying, just type in African American. Look at their what do you call it? A bio. In their bios, they'll tell you what they're passionate about. They'll say, I've spent 22 years working with this kind of population. I've spent this many years working with this kind of population. And so, honestly, you can learn everything about them when you read about them. And I think you'll know when you're home. But in my opinion, everybody has a therapist. There's a perfect match for everybody. So, yes, therapy is for someone who looks like you. Next one says, I'm successful. I don't need no help. Oh, okay. The people who would most likely say this are those who are wealthy, who have high positions in the world, and who just are kind of honorable individuals. I've seen so many people think that, okay, well, my money, what I got, my resources, what I have will take care of me. Now, when you do have money, you can buy many things to maybe help you for a moment, but nothing beats mental health. Nothing beats being able to overcome challenges that it's the things that people can't see. And truthfully, money doesn't buy that, but it can buy you a good psychiatrist or a therapist, okay? So I wanted to bust that one. Number 3 says, I don't need help. I'm Superwoman. I'm going to stick with that today. I put the strong friend. I have so many clients, y'all, that tell me, I'm the one that everybody lean on. I'm the one that everybody comes to. But what I love, and the example that I wanted to share today was I have a client who says, man, I'm so tired of listening to people. When they come and talk to me, I tune out. I do not remember what they said. And by the time they're done and they ask me, what do I think? I'm only responding with what I think they would want me to say. Oh, girl, that's dangerous. You can't help nobody doing that. And then number 2 is you don't know everything. So the truth is nobody's Superwoman. You know what you know. You may know what you've been through, but that does not mean you got it all. That doesn't mean that's enough to make it through life. So we're going to bust that myth up too.
I call it dumping.
You're dumping?
Yeah.
And that's what we're working on. You might have to learn to put some boundaries up.
Yeah.
You stressing yourself out. You're not taking care of your home because you're trying to be the one who got it all, and you don't. I have another lady, she's struggling to figure out who she is because she's been helping so many people all her life. All right, next is, and y'all, sorry, some of these words fall in the crack, but don't worry, my voice will tell you what it says. This one says, Black people do not commit suicide. How many times have I heard that? How many times have y'all heard that? Okay, and some people say the only reason why I won't is because I'm scared. But when I thought about this myth, y'all, and I want y'all to know, when I was creating these, I thought about the textbook myths, you know, children don't get mental health issues, just, you know, the simple things. But in truth, I learned, no, we're going to go for what I hear in my community because everybody in this room look like me and you, okay? So sadness, hopelessness, worthlessness, and feeling like everything is an effort. Who has ever felt that?
Yeah.
Raise your hand. Guess what? So did those people who committed suicide. It overtook them. It became bigger than them. But what leads to it, y'all, we all experience it, okay? And then the last word on this slide says attempts. So hear me, because I worked in a hospital with children. We attempt Just because we weren't successful with it, don't mean that black people are not out here trying. So hear me. Black people do commit suicide. Black people are hurting. And it does lead to serious, serious impairment if we don't really honor that truth. All right, number 5 says therapy is too expensive. Somebody's coming through. Therapy is too expensive. And while that may be the case, that's not the only option you have when we're talking about therapy. Insurances, me being in private practice, I've learned that some people pay $4.70 to come see me. Some people pay nothing to come see me. Some people are out of network with us, and that causes them to have to pay out of pocket, but then other people just have a deductible. And I learned the deductible is all mental health. I mean, not mental health, but all health experiences. So if you regularly go to the doctor, if you've been paying your co-pays, if you've been paying some bills, that deductible might have been met already. And you may not have to pay anything. The next thing is a sliding scale. Some people say, and you can look for this on people's websites, okay, well, what can you pay on the first of the month versus the last day of the month? They'll slide the scale for you. They'll say, okay, you can only do this on this time, well, pay me this. You can only do that on that time, pay me that. Sometimes people do pro bono. That's free. And then there's good faith estimates. There's a law now that says we cannot surprise people. You can't come and go to the doctor or providers and you get this big bill at the end. We have to tell you, this is about how much. I don't know if you guys have seen that at the doctor now, but they'll try to tell you, this is about how much you're going to owe. This is about how much, and Baptists, they even put like a thing in my chart now that says, and I ain't even made it to my appointment yet, and they already telling me what I'm going to owe. And I called it attitude, but then I was like, oh, wait, Nina, you know why they did that. So, good faith estimates, y'all. Although it may seem too expensive. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to say on this was everybody's insurance plan has a behavioral health section. And in that section, it'll tell you how much they'll cover versus what you'll pay. That goes back to that deductible versus out-of-pocket expenses. Expenses? Am I saying that word right? Okay, thank you. Out-of-pocket expenses. Okay, and the last one says, if I ask for help, I won't be understood or I'll be judged. And I like this slide because I actually connect to this slide. But as I was making it, I realized we got to talk about some truths if we're going to bust this myth up. The first thing you need to do is look within yourself. I think that people tend to think others will do to them what they're already doing to themselves or what they're doing to other people. So if you feel like you're going to be judged, then why don't you sit and look at how you judge people? Okay? That therapist don't know you. That therapist is doing their job. And it don't even have to just be therapy. It could be a safe space, somebody to help. It could be somebody in the church. If you're thinking like that, I think that's because that's already what's in you. So you might have to check yourself before you go ask for help. The next would be safe space. I just said that. You're going to need to make sure that you do feel comfortable enough to share some things. Like I said earlier, when you're looking for a therapist, you'll know. The last one is honesty. You got to be honest. If you want to learn who's for you and who's not, you got to show up as the real you. And then you got to be committed. You can't just go one time and say, I ain't feeling up. Now, while y'all may not be a match, that just means it's time to go back to the drawing board. But you got to keep showing up to figure out what's going to work for you, who's for you, and who's not for you, okay? All right? Those are just, now that's a little icebreaker in itself, too. But those are some myths. I want you guys to just take some time and reflect, although we're short on time, and just think about which ones apply to you. Which ones have you thought? Or you can deal with them. You can deal with them. You can't just say, okay, move on. That was yesterday. We're saying it's okay. If that's how you feel, that's cool. Recognize it. Accept it. And we're gonna love on you here at FCC today. All right. So when I was planning this presentation, me and my husband were talking. Remember, y'all, he sent me that long message. And I was like, okay, he want me to hit this. Lord, what am I going to do? But as I started talking out to my husband and he was reflecting some words back to me, I automatically thought about insurance providers. I said, oh, this sounds like when things happen in life. Things happen. And the word that came to my mind was qualifying life event. Who's heard of this? No? You haven't? If you haven't, I love it. Let me educate you for a second. So, what is a qualifying life event? It's a change in life circumstances that allows you to alter an existing health insurance policy or sign up for a new one outside of open enrollment periods. If you've had a job, if you've done anything, you know they're very strict. Nope. Either you're going to have to wait till the next period, or if something happens, they say, okay, we get it. Let's figure out how to get you covered or add somebody else to your plan. I love a qualifying life event. The purpose of this QLE, that's what we're going to say for the rest of the presentation. It's a special period recognizing that sometimes unforeseen circumstances in a person's life require them to make needed changes. You get two options when you're dealing with qualifying life events. You get to enroll in a new plan, or you get to make changes to your existing one. It is designed to provide the opportunity to get or change insurance after the occurrence of a qualifying life event. So, let's look at what the insurance folks say. These are some things that qualify you for getting new insurance. If you're turning 26, if you've lost your coverage, that could be that you're no longer married, you've lost your job, you can no longer pay that monthly premium, many things. But they're saying, hey, if you lose coverage, this is a qualifying event. We have marriage or divorce, birth, a change in your income, getting out of jail or prison, or a change in your location. When I read these, y'all, because my heart was taking me to this, I said, even the insurance company support our mental health if we think about it. They saying we get it. Things happen. So I said, let me take that from the insurance land and let me put that in real life. Sometimes our qualifying events look like this. Difficult or traumatic life experiences. Our basic needs not being met. Getting health, having health problems and getting diagnoses that you never thought you would have or that you wanted. Employment, changes to the thing that's providing for us. We have things going on with our family, relationships, friendly or romantic. Sometimes we struggle with knowing who we are, where we going, what we doing, or our purpose and our potential. These are what I like to call real qualifying life events. Now, we got one in the insurance world, but today I want to talk to you from this perspective. It's okay not to be okay because we have qualifying life events. And this is just a few. You know, I can tell you somewhere in our life experiences, they fall within this category. So let's see. When we experience, let me come right here. When we experience these qualifying life events, coming into let me go back, y'all. I want to tell y'all something right here. Let me break this down. So this is the way insurance does it, but this is what I say. When you come into a new age, I was thinking about when I turned 21. I was thinking about when I turned 26 rather, and I was thinking about how old I am now. Something big and different happened at every single one of those ages. Something was different. 21, I was having a baby. I was trying to finish college. Come on, baby. 26, I realized I'm okay. I can take care of this baby. I am in grad school now. 33, I'm married. I have 2 more extra kids. I'm trying to balance all the things. This is crazy. Those are my qualifying events, right? Losing a job. Has anybody ever lost a job in here? Exactly. Or unexpected changes happening with your job. Marriage or divorce. Basically, the joining together or the undoing of a union. Tell me that don't rock your life. As beautiful as marriage is, y'all, that thing comes with it. It comes with some work.
So.
It comes with work. Let me say that. It comes with work. Giving birth, as beautiful, the gifts, all the things that we get, that's coming with some work. And that's going to change our whole life. What about our income? You was making this at one point, now we got to figure out how we're going to do some things a little bit different. And let's not talk about inflation. Huh? Grocery shopping is crazy. Getting out of jail or prison. I do work at the state hospital, and I watch people come in and out of the doors because basically they don't know anything different. This is the best home that they have. So coming out of that hospital, it's like, what? What you want me to do? Who gonna feed me? How am I make sure I do right? How am I make sure I stay off drugs? So getting out of jail or prison, or even the hospital, I'm gonna say an acute hospital, or moving. When I say changing location, I'm talking about moving to new states, new areas, new neighborhoods. These are qualifying events, and they cause us to kind of pause for the cause. So now I want to talk about natural occurrences. When life changes for us, this is when we begin to experience some things. And I'm not saying it's always bad, but the truth is, Pastor Kelly wanted me to tell you how it's okay to not be okay. So when we have these life experiences and these changes, and we trying to figure out who we are, where we're going, this is what begins to happen. We get depressed. We start feeling bad about ourselves. We start questioning ourselves. We start not doing the things we used to like doing. We start isolating. We become anxious, worrying excessively. We even get some PTSD when life changes for us. We begin to stress. I love to put impulsivity on here because I think that when some people are doing so bad in life or they can't handle the changes, they just start making big decisions. Okay, I'm tired of thinking about it. Let me just go on and do this. Okay, today I just want to not feel. Let me go on and do this. Impulsivity is a result of that. We begin to have thinking errors. We can't make proper decisions. We can't problem solve. We become obsessive compulsive. Now you find yourself trying to make sure you do everything right. Because life has changed. It's no longer like it was. You realize you're not in control. And you're just trying to figure out what's going on. So these are qualifying event natural occurrences. Okay? Y'all tracking with me? Everybody following?
Yes.
Cool. Now, once again, y'all know this has been on my mind since Pastor Kelly texted me. One day, God woke me up and I heard clear as day as I'm just trying to figure out how can I make this land for them, God? How can I tell them what you want me to tell them? The first thing I heard when I woke up was, it's not the healthy that I need to come for, it's the sick. And so I said, okay.
That's deep.
So he took me through Matthew 8 and 9. I'll read this to you. Jesus answered them, this is Luke first. It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. I have not come to call the righteous, but the sinners to repentance. I'm not saying that you guys are sinners or that you're sinning, but I just want you to know, God, I believe he wanted me to say today, he's coming for the sick. That's exactly where he wants you, so that he can begin to work on some things. So I said, okay, God, but like, what else you want me to tell him? Like I said, he took me through Matthew 8 and 9. And paragraph after paragraph were sick people. People who were not okay. He had me read the man with leprosy, begging God, heal me, please. He did so. The centurion had a slave back at home, or a servant. And centurion said, hey, just give me the word. Say it. You don't have to come. Just say it. He did so. He healed him. Peter's mother-in-law, she had a fever at the house. He healed her. They were in the boat. They were stripping. They were getting a little scared. He calmed them down. He restored 2 demon-possessed men. Many. When I was reading through, there were many people that he restored that were demon-possessed. He healed paralyzed people. He raised a girl from the dead by touching her hand. The woman with the issue of blood just touched his cloak and she was healed. He acknowledged every single one of them. That's what I loved. He either told them, your faith has healed you. Just go. You healed. Your forgiveness has healed you. He did something, but what I loved about what he showed me was all of these people were not okay. So I said, oh, it's the same stuff we're dealing with now. Didn't I tell you? Health diagnosis that we didn't ask for? Let me run this back for you. The man with leprosy, that's medical. That's getting a diagnosis you don't like. The centurion, you got good people in your life that's serving and you trying to figure out why did that happen? Why are they struggling? The mother-in-law, simply just being sick. Them folks in that boat, they were anxious. That is anxiety. Okay? They were getting scared, but he calmed them. Oh, and these demon-possessed people, remember, I work in a hospital. This is where I come from, you call seriously mental ill. I work with people where I had a lady in group probably a few weeks ago tell me, because I was trying to talk to them about how your core beliefs matter and you can reset them. But she said, I don't know which voice is mine and which one is not the real ones anymore. Same thing back then as today. Because it's okay to not be okay. I'm not saying that you need to be demon possessed. But I'm telling you that same word, that same sense of not being okay has been happening all this time. Let's see. The blind and the mute man. He healed them. Sometimes what I thought about when I was doing this was that people are born, not that you got these diagnoses after you've been living. Some people are born like this. But also I think God does this and shows his healing to say, hey, from beginning to end, or even if it happened in the middle of life, I still got you. Yeah. And I can still make some things change, no matter how long, okay? I love this.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so the next slide says, in my feelings. Yes. You want to know that you're not okay because this is what helps you figure out what's really going on with you. Like that myth I told you, if you want to be Superwoman, you're not going to learn you. If you want to keep saying, don't nobody want to help me, they just going to judge me, you're not going to really know what's going on and you're not going to move forward. So when I say the who, what, when, where, why, and how, I'm saying when you begin to sit in your feelings, you learn who might be contributing to how you feeling. You learn what might be contributing. You might be able to pinpoint when it started happening. You might be able to learn why it's happening. And then you might be able to figure out, how did I get here? What is it? When you really sit in your feelings, you learn these things here. So, now, let's look at working towards change. Let's go back. Remember, when a qualifying life event happens for insurance, they recognize that unforeseen circumstances take place and require them to make the needed changes. The same goes for us. We have to be able to slow down and tell ourselves, hold on, something is different. Something has changed for me, and it's time for me to make some changes. And also during this period, I want you to remember that when this happens, it's time to enroll in a new one or make changes to the existing plan that you have, okay? Well, let's look at that. We're going to call it enrolling in a new plan. That's what I want y'all to keep in your head. Whenever something happens for you and you like, I got to do something else, we just enrolling in a new plan. We may have to abort the plan that we had before. Whatever you had going on in your life, whatever you thought it was going to go a certain way, maybe it's time to let go of that plan. Maybe it's time to abort that mission and reroute some things. We're going to examine our value system and the ones that we currently have in place. I have a client, I'm working with her on her values. She's trying to figure out, why am I struggling in so many areas in my life? Why am I freaking out when somebody says this to me? Why can I get through my day when this happens? The therapist told her, oh, that's because you don't know. Yeah, I'm getting into character a little bit too much. Let me come back. She said it's because you don't know who you are. Have you slowed down to look at where are you in life? This is why you're struggling. So when we enroll in a new plan, we got to look at, okay, what was important to me before and what's important to me now? When you figure that out, you're going to actually rewrite that. These are your values and your goals. You don't have to do this alone. This is what you're going to do in therapy if you choose to go get it. And then we're going to prepare for change to take place. And I simply just put courage and commitment. Because when you have to let go of what was, and when you got to start moving towards something new, it's not going to be easy. The waves hit hard. Some days are good, but other ones are just like, what? I want to go back to that old plan. This was easy when I had this old coverage. But sometimes we're called to get new. Now, if you don't need to redo your whole plan, sometimes we just need to make changes to our existing one. That may be giving yourself grace. Like I said, accepting that something has changed. Okay, let me not come down on myself for not living like I did before, for not feeling as smart as I was before, for not feeling like I was as helpful, wealthy, for not being in that position or just honorable as I was before. You gotta give yourself grace. Whenever change takes place, grace is the first thing. Because if not, we're gonna spiral. After that, we're gonna have to forgive. That may be yourself. That may be others. Like I said, the joining together and the undoing of a union, if divorce took place, we're going to have to forgive. If death took place, we're going to have to be okay. I'm not saying forgive, but I'm saying give yourself some grace. We're going to examine our value system again. Not the root of this presentation, but values are at the root of this when I say changes happen, and you're going to have to figure out what's important to you after that, okay? So values, values, values. Once again, we're going to revisit and rewrite those goals. And then you're going to prepare for change to take place. And we still need what at the end of that? You feel me? So, who in life feels like, I need to enroll in a new plan? And then who feels like, nah, I need to make some changes to my existing plan? You ain't got to tell me, don't raise your hand. I'm just saying, think about it. Where are you in life? All right, cognitive distortion. So when you go to therapy, if you were to come see me or anybody else, we would look at how are you thinking? What's going on in here that's impacting your continuity of life? Why are we not moving forward? In order to do that, you got to look at your core beliefs and your core values. Once again, values is at the root of this. You're going to have to locate where you are and is it aligned with the value that you now have. And then you're going to have to get to know yourself again when you're not okay. When life happens, we change. I told you some of these things, marriage, giving birth, turning 26, we think this is all. But sometimes that still comes with some heavy consequences, some heavy responsibilities. I'm going to have to get to know who I am at this point. I'm going to have to love it and I'm going to have to embrace it. And remember, it's a commitment. Just like you would have to keep going back to therapy, you're going to have to keep coming back and loving on yourself. You're going to have to keep coming back and reminding yourself what you're doing, where you're going, and why. When you get in your feelings, you learn the what, who, what, when, where, why, and how. Now, God woke me up again. And I said, okay, Lord, what you want me to tell him today? And he told me, now when we're working on getting better, it starts in the heart.
Yes.
The heart is what contributes to what we got going on in the mind. He said, Proverbs 4:20-27. Pay attention to what I say. Turn your ear to my words. Do not let them out of your sight. Keep them within your heart, for they are life to those who find them and health to one's whole body. Y'all, I'm going to pause right here and I'm going to say you can't have Jesus without good mental health, and you can't have good mental health without Jesus. I believe the two, they connect. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Keep your mouth free of perversity. Keep corrupt talk from your lips. Let your eyes look straight ahead. Fix your gaze directly before you. Give careful thought to the paths for your feet and be steadfast in all your ways. Do not turn right or left, and keep your foot from evil. Now, we love the Bible, but Nina likes to break it down to hood versions, hood terms. Okay? Basically, God is saying you're going to have to get some meat on them spiritual bones. You're going to have to fix your faith. What do you believe in now that life has changed? What do you believe now that you're not okay? Remember, this is okay because people in the Bible were not okay. But he still had good plans for them. What word are you reading? What are you putting in yourself to keep reminding yourself who you are? What are we focused on? What do we see ahead of us? This is what Proverbs 4 is saying. Your environment. Who am I keeping around me? Are they contributing to me changing? Are they helping me enroll in a new plan? Or are they helping me stay back on this old coverage? Your history. We got to acknowledge where we come from. The generations before us. That's okay. It happened. They were like that. It happened for like 3 generations. But that don't mean that that's your plan. You might need to enroll in a new one. You might need to make changes. And then your forgiveness. One of the people he healed, he told him your forgiveness has healed you. And the crowd was just like, what are you saying? He was like, dang, would you rather me just say, you're good? Go ahead. But it had something to do with forgiveness. And so sometimes what's making you not okay is the lack of forgiveness you're holding on to. And remember, that starts in the heart. Okay? And then that's what contributes to your mental health. So this is my last slide. It's just something to remember. If we're going to be okay, we have to stabilize our basic needs. If you're trying to figure out income, where you're staying, what you're wearing, what you're eating, we're not okay. We can't move forward. If you do not feel safe, physically, mentally, or emotionally, we're not okay. We're going to have to work on that. You need caring community as you're working to be okay. You need somebody around you. When you can't be the thing that you need to be for yourself, you need somebody else to see that plan for you still. And then we got to have self-esteem. You got to know what it's like to be respected, to have strength, and freedom to be who that new person is going to be. Lastly is productivity. That's your purpose. I talked about that earlier. What is your potential? What heights are we going to soar to? This is important as we work to come from not being okay to okay. Now that's it, y'all. I'm done. I thought I'd share some contact information for me.
Look, she can want us to do this. We need to
Right. As you write down, does anybody have? Yes, girl.
So with me pretty much being the only man in here,
Okay.
how do you, or how can you allow yourself to talk to somebody when you talk, okay, a man really don't express his feelings, so you having to, one, figure out your identity yourself, understand and heal from your wounds yourself, by yourself, and you're doing pretty good. You making some progress, but in some areas you like, okay, in a way, I kind of still need to open up to somebody, but I don't have nobody open up. And a man, unless you have a girlfriend, wife, then you have to open up. You just ball that stuff up and you just stump it down and you just let it, try to figure this thing out. But sometimes you just really just need somebody to talk to or to vent to. I mean, how do I really go about that? Because of what people say men supposed to do, or how they supposed to, if you understand my question.
And you're saying, who are you supposed to talk to, or how?
Both.
So I don't know if you were in earlier, but we were talking about this myth of just asking for help, seeking help, and afraid of being judged. But you first have to determine what platform do you want to get that help on. Do you have caring community? Remember, if you don't, that's a part of life. If not, then it's probably time for me to start looking at a therapist. Maybe a safe space, a psychiatrist, anywhere where I can start working out my thoughts. And once again, you don't have to do it all on your own. You can only see what you can see right now, but when you really start playing that against a professional or a safe space person, you'll see clearer. You'll understand better. The right person knows how to pull the right things out of you. Okay, well, what do you mean by that? Now, I hear you saying this, but tell me more about that. And before you know it, you done start talking and understanding yourself. But it takes the right soundboard to do that. And so as you figure out first where, if you realize you don't have anybody in your life, then you might want to look at a professional. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, but like I said, men anyway, they don't believe in psychologists anyway.
So
my husband does.
That first word is self-reflection.
Yeah.
You have to figure out, where are you? What am I okay with? What am I not okay with? Okay? Before you begin to open up to somebody else.
My husband just got him a psychiatrist because he felt like I didn't understand some of the things that was going on in his mind. So he got him a psychiatrist, and he's doing good with it. I need to go. I need to go.
You may do well with another male, Rover.
I was gonna say, the stigma is changing, and so there's definitely men out there that I feel like can assist black men. They can assist you with what you're needing. Do you have access to that website?
Psychology.
Psychology Today.
Have you heard of that, Grover?
Heard of what?
Psychology Today.
No, ma'am.
And then you can go on there, filter down to what you're needing, even as far as your insurance, and something can come up for you.
You literally type in the city where you are, and if you want to, you can filter it. Like, let me do this really quick. Where we at, Miss? Oh, 43.
You can even do age. You can do race. You can even do religion. I believe, isn't it? I think that's an option. A filter on there.
You see all this?
It's literally.
So if you say, well, I want an African American. Okay, cool. If you say, I know I got self-esteem issues. I done had some sexual abuse. I'm dealing with some grief. You're creating your therapist in this filter. And then whoever comes from there is who you start looking at. Sometimes that can be overwhelming, even for me. I thought, gotta read this one, gotta read that one. But when you start really applying yourself and reading their bios and what their specialty is and their passion, you'll know when you're at home. I believe that. But first, you gotta make sure you're ready to tell the truth, because it starts with you. Okay? I don't even put you on the spot there. I feel like that last one got a little personal. Anybody else though? Anything? Well, I'm done, guys.
I want to say my granddaughter, my oldest granddaughter, she goes to see a psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me, she said, Granny, that's the best thing that you do. She goes. And but she said it took her time to find the right one. Mm-hmm. And she told me that I need to do the same. That when I go to one, if it's not a fit, she said, go try to get another one. Mm-hmm. You know, until you get that fit. Yeah. That fits you. And my other daughter, she goes. She loves it. My husband goes, he loves it. So that leaves me, I need to go.
It's so fun.
I need to go.
Some days it's really uncomfortable. There's days where I've been like, oh my God, I just said that out loud. But she reassured, she said, it's okay. Yeah. I'm a therapist and I need to know what that feels like. To be okay with telling my truth and having somebody to talk to. Yeah. I'm learning this. So I encourage you guys, just go get help. Go get help. Just talk about it. It don't have to be super deep. Just talk.
I went to one and that woman directed me to go to church. You know that? I was trying to trick the system, you know, to get some days off. You know, they mess with my mind. And I went. When I stepped in there, the first thing she asked me, she said, do you belong to the church? I said, no, man. She said, let's pray.
Wow.
And we prayed. And she said, you need to find me a church home. And she invited me to some church. I said, no, I got a girlfriend and invited me to a church. And I started going there, and I've been going to church ever since.
Check you out.
God.
I'll take it.
God.
I'll take it. And God and therapy. Just gonna throw it out there.
God and therapy.
All right, y'all. Y'all are free to go. I'm on time, Miss Brenda.
Yes.
They ready to start? Okay. Thank y'all for listening to me.
That was good.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Give me some on that one.
Thank you so much. Goodness. That was so good. Thank you. All glory to God.
Yes. You got anything? No, you're doing